From the dark recesses of my unconscious mind into the glaring light of objective reality. You are listening to the Dark Mind Podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode where we explore the boundless realm of dark literature and film. On today's show, we have a woman whose disembodied voice thrives on the ethereal plane of creepypasta narrative fiction. We'll be discussing her fiction, narration, as well as her voiceover acting. So without further ado, join me as we delve into the dark insight of Danie Dreadful. Madam Dreadful, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining me. I've been following you online for quite some time, so it's good to finally meet you.
Yes, I know I've seen, and I've been following you as well. Love the podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I guess I've basically arrived as far as podcasting is concerned because I have royalty on the show.
Oh,
I have the Queen of Dread. Done. My career is through.
And I'm not, I did not give myself that name, just to let you know. So,
well, I know. Oh, no,
just a little background.
You are as humble as you are talented.
Oh, thank you. It was so weird. Like one day I just came on the scene. I met a bunch of different narrators and someone was just like, Danie Dreadful, my goodness, you're the queen of creepypasta. And then it just, I don't know, it just caught on. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go with it then.
Yeah. I mean, it fits, if the shoe fits.
Or the crown.
Or the crown, yes. Speaking of which, well, I'll ask you about the throne later. So I'm a little on the anal retentive side, so I did a little research into the origins of the creepypasta and found that creepypasta is a portmanteau of the words creepy and copypasta, and the story Ted the Caver was probably the earliest example, and it was posted on Angel Fire in 2001. Have you heard anything different?
Nope, you hit the nail on the head on that.
So Angel Fire, I'm trying to remember what kind of a platform that was. I remember seeing it all the time. 2001, I was 21.
Yeah, 2001, I was still in middle school, I believe.
Oh my God, I'm an old bastard.
No.
well, then we won't go any further into Angel Fire. So first of all, how did you get into narrating creepypastas and how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I was really into listening to Dark Somnium, Let's Read, the OGs. And then I found Romnex, who is, I believe, Dark Somnium's partner, and she had such a wonderful voice. And my husband and I used to listen to them together, like kind of to go to sleep to, because they had such calming voices, especially Let's Read. And one night he was just like, you should really try this. You try your hand at it. And this was probably about 5-6 years ago. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then, he kind of talked me into it. And I have a background when I was younger. I was in drama club, choir, all of that, and always had a passion for the arts. And it just got to me one day that I wasn't doing anything creative. I didn't have a creative outlet. So I took him up on his idea, and I just narrated, and that was August, or I believe it was like almost 2 years ago, but I stopped for a while. It was 2 years ago. I did a few and I was like, okay, my personal life was just getting too hectic with my job at the time. I didn't have enough time to do it. I couldn't put as much into it as I would have wanted to. So I took a break and then I came back very strong in April of last year and just been going since.
And I know your primary spot is your YouTube channel. Is that still the case?
It is, yes.
But you do have some audio-only podcasts on the podcasting platforms, Spotify and the like?
Yep. I have Spotify and Anchor and Apple Podcast.
How has that worked out as far as getting you more exposure?
Honestly, I feel like I need to be a bit better about uploading. But when I do, I was actually ranked number 20 in drama for Germany. And I thought that was pretty cool. But I haven't gained many subscribers from that, I don't think. But honestly, that's my own fault because I'm not pushing that as much, I feel like. But that is on my list of things to do for sure.
Yeah, I was curious to know. I mean, you kind of explained the background as to how you got started into doing narration, but I always wondered how you figured out that you had a voice for it, because I'm talking to you now and, you have a very mellifluous, sing-song, pleasant voice. So if you told me that you did horror narration, I'd kind of like, how does that work out? But then, once you get into narrator mode, all of a sudden things get really creepy. So how did you, fine tune your narrator voice?
Yeah, so actually it's very funny because if you listen to the first few, I don't have a narrator voice. I was kind of just reading. And it didn't sound that great. And then one day, I don't know, I just started reading in my voice and I was like, that's it. Like, that's my voice. I like how this sounds. And it's so, I have, like a customer service sales background. So a lot of talking involved. And that was kind of my customer servicey voice, but fine tuned to make it sound a little bit creepier. And that's kind of how it just came to be one day. I was just narrating something. I feel like it may have been, was it Eyeless Jack? It might have been Eyeless Jack was the first one that I started narrating using my actual narration voice and just kind of went with it. And I started getting a little bit more recognition when I started doing that. So
interesting. So when you're looking through stories to choose one to narrate, what are the criteria, so to speak, that you're looking for? And is there anything about a story that will make you automatically disqualify it from consideration?
Yeah, so I really like the voice acting aspect in a lot of the stories. So if there are lines to be read, I really do enjoy those the most. But for just a regular narrating story, it has to be written well. It has to it has to freak me out. If I read through it and I get goosebumps, I know this is going to be a great story. I think my reader or my listeners will really enjoy it. But also the disqualifications for me would be animal and child abuse. Absolutely. There was one story where I just kind of skimmed through it and it was on the creepypasta wiki. I was like, oh, this sounds good. This looks good. And I got to like the very last part last paragraph. And there was, like the killing of a horse and I completely scrapped the entire audio. That was my own fault because I didn't read through it, but after that, I automatically decided like I have to read every single line before I even consider narrating it.
Yeah. So the main, I guess, sources that you have, I know you write your own material, but when you're narrating other people's work, you mentioned the creepy wiki. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So there is a creepypasta wiki, which you're allowed to, that's kind of free reign, like free to read. But for me, I've actually made friends with a few authors where I used a lot of their work, such as Paige Turner. She's amazing. Scott Donnelly, Boris Basic. Those are like my three go-to. My friend Creepy Cody writes for me sometimes as well. His work is amazing. So and also Blake Blizzard. He's awesome as well. So I've made kind of connections with them. So when I'm looking for a story and I don't want to go through the wiki, I'll just hit one of them up and be like, what do you have for me? And they usually pull through.
Like drug dealers.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you narrate a lot of other people's stories, but you have your originals as well. Me personally, I would think, just as a thought experiment, that it would be more enjoyable to read your own material, but maybe not.
That is true.
Which do you prefer?
So I would say out of mine, the authors that I've made friends with, I love reading their work, but I also enjoy reading my work. If there's random stuff that I find on Reddit or like the free to read creepypasta Reddit, I'm never really super excited to read those unless it's like a really, really good one. But yeah, for me, it's when I'm narrating my own work, I feel like I'm more comfortable because I'm not as nervous. Like, I guess it's more of I want to impress the authors that I'm reading for. So for me, it's like a little less pressure if I'm reading something that I wrote myself.
Yeah, that's I can relate to that. When I was doing, my narrative fiction, there was a lot less pressure because it was just me, and I just had the audio quality had to measure up to my standards, and like
Exactly.
Now I'm like, oh, it's somebody else is involved. I gotta make this shine. Yeah, I get that.
And every time I narrate something, so Paige Turner and I, we are working on something on my channel we're working on, and it's called Classics in the Rain. So what she's been doing is adapting classic horror stories for me so that it's more enjoyable for the listener, so that they're not trying to understand like what words are we saying. So that has been one of my absolute favorite projects that I've worked on so far. Those are a little less like, oh my gosh, is she gonna hate it? But when she gives me original pieces that she's written, I always message her. I'm like, I hope you don't hate it.
Yeah, I've noticed definitely with you. I think with Derek, is it Weber? I think
Derek Weber, Scary Stories. Yeah.
And I would know the name if I heard it. Who's another a female narrator that you've collabed with before?
Either Amanda Jane, The Darkest Hour.
The Darkest Hour, yeah.
Yes, love her too.
Yeah, I've noticed that quite often the ambience is like a rainstorm in the background. Is that something that's kind of synonymous with creepypasta narration, or is that just something that a lot of people just happen to find effective?
I think it started I don't even know when it really started. I used to actually put beats behind my narrations because I'm a music lover as well. So I thought it would be fun to put beats behind it. But then I guess I heard somewhere that people like to sleep to them, and having that music behind it wasn't very effective. So I think it has become a common thing in the industry now to just put rain ambiance behind it, just so that it gives that sleepy, creepy feeling. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but it kind of just happened.
Well, I know you have stories that you refer to as sleepy pastas, where I think you intentionally make your voice less dynamic. Is that right?
Yep, that is correct. There was one that I did with my friend Ernest. He's another great, awesome writer. And that was the first one I tried with that. And just kind of like, instead of being more like acting out the parts, I just simply read them in a very soft tone. And then I put the rain behind it. And I've gotten some good feedback on that. So I'll probably add a little bit more of that into my agenda.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed Derek Weber uses, I think it's called lo-fi.
Yeah.
Or just like this real mellow, like it's almost like chill wave techno music.
I love it. It's really cool. He's actually one of my very good friends in the community, probably my best friend besides Paige Turner. So every time we have ideas, we kind of bounce them off of each other. So when he started doing the lo-fi, like way before I think I even heard of him. And then I was like, wow, this sounds like Hey Arnold. Like, remember when, I don't know if you ever watched Hey Arnold, that show.
I don't think so.
It was in the 90s, like a cartoon, but they would always play like really cool lo-fi music behind it. And then we got to talking, and he's a real 90s guy. Like, he loves the 90s. So I was like, I can totally see where that came in. I was a little kid back then, but I love the 90s, the cartoons.
Yeah. Did they still have, when you were a kid, had they gotten rid of Saturday morning cartoons yet?
No, those were pretty amazing. I loved Saturday. And then we also had TGIF.
Yes. Full House.
And yes, Full House, the best.
Mm-hmm. Well, So do you have to be inspired to write your own material, or are there nights where you're just like, all right, I need an original. I'm going to sit down and belt it out?
Yeah, so lately, yes, I have been trying to get inspired, but I've been reading a lot of things where it's like you can't wait to be inspired to just start writing. So today was actually nope, I've had 3 work in progresses right now. It's just been kind of hectic, so I haven't had time to like sit down and really write. But I had another idea today for another one, but I said, nope, going to put that on the back burner until I finish at least one of my work in progresses. But yeah, for me, it used to be more like I have to be inspired. But then sometimes when I am inspired, I can sit there and write up an entire story in one sitting, which I did for Bloody Mary, A Good Boy, and The Taking Tree. Those I just kind of sat down and wrote all in one sitting.
Yeah, I really liked... I think it was a collaboration, and it may have been Paige Turner that adapted that Poe.
The Telltale Heart.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Thank you. Yes, I really, really enjoyed Poe, and Lovecraft too is one of my favorites. So I just narrated one of his yesterday.
Yeah. Do a lot of people do Lovecraft?
It's not as popular as I thought it would be. I did a YouTube search the other day just to see what I was kind of up against, or if people search for Lovecraft. I didn't see that many. I've seen a lot of Edgar Allan Poe though.
Yeah. Seems like a lot more people would do Lovecraft because, I don't know, it's kind of like narration is kind of this weird thing. It's literature because there's writing involved, but there's like no hard copy. Mm-hmm. But it's not a movie either. It's like this ethereal audio that kind of floats into your ears and paints this moving picture in your mind. And Lovecraft, his writing style was just these strange dreamscapes. It
yes.
seems like that would just sync right up with the narrative fiction style.
I agree 100%. What I'm noticing in the community is that a lot of people are turning more to true stories. So they're going to like the true Reddit things, which personally I tried it and my heart's just not in it. I'll do like a few true paranormal stories every so often if I have a collaboration, someone on my channel. But for the most part, I really do love the classics. And that's why Paige Turner and I came up with this idea to have these episodes on my channel where it's just called Classics in the Rain. And I'm just narrating classics that people can understand, in the modern day English, as we say.
Well, speaking about your original stories, can you talk about your inspiration for your story, A Good Boy? And did Anakin have any basis for that character?
Of course he did.
I knew it.
Yes. So Anakin is my first dog ever, by the way. I've never had a dog before. And he's my absolute, he is my baby. I love him so much. So when I was writing A Good Boy, I was just thinking, I think I was just kind of like talking to my husband. I was like, I want to write a story about a dog that's like turned into a werewolf kind of type thing and just helps his owner because, that's what dogs do. They're, they help their owners out. Yeah. So I was just sitting there and just thinking about how much I loved Anakin, and I just wrote it. That was the one that I just literally wrote in one sitting, and I edited it a few times, and I was like, all right, this is good. Let's narrate it.
Anytime I see you post something with him in it, my mind always reverts back to when you first got your camera and you took a picture of Anakin, I guess, on a couch or a bed, and it was in black and white, and he had this stoic look on his face. For the listeners at home, go to is it a post that they can find on your
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my Instagram is public.
Yeah, go to Danie Dreadful's Instagram and look for this black and white photo of her dog, Anakin. It looks just like those old ads in Details magazine from the 90s for cologne. And he's just got this stoic look on his face. This thought bubble popped in my head. No one understands me. I'm a lone wolf.
I laughed so hard when you messaged me that.
Oh,
but
God.
Yeah, I love, I have my 2 cats as well. I love them to death. I love them all. They're my babies. But Anakin is he's just something else. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the personality of 3.
Oh, for sure. We have this game we play every morning. It's kind of like based on how many socks he steals from the bedroom, or he finds socks randomly all the time. And based on how many socks he brings me, I know how hectic my day is going to be. So this morning he found 2 socks and I was like, okay, it's not going to be that bad. And then I think he found like 3 more as I was working. And I was like, oh my goodness. All right. Day's going to get hectic. And by the end of the day, it was like 6 socks. I was like, yep, that determines my day. So.
Oh God, we have a Maltipoo, and somewhere in there is some Jack Russell Terrier, because this dog is out of its mind. Like he's 8 years old and he has the energy of a puppy. When he gets really excited, he spins around in circles like a Jack Russell.
Oh my gosh.
What's the other thing he does? There's something I'm missing. I guess just that and the insane amount of energy he has. But, yeah, he wears me out. Cause I don't know what 8 translates to in dog years, but he's got to be older than me. Yeah. And I was just like, dude, come on, man, let's go to sleep.
Oh my goodness. That literally sounds like Anakin. He's such a handful. He's a Pomsky, so he's a Pomeranian Husky. And like when we first got him, he was so chill. I mean, this is literally the first night. He was so chill. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to be so good. He's going to be such a good boy. And, you know, the next day he got comfortable and it was just hectic craziness. But I wouldn't have it any other way. He keeps us on our toes and, you know, exercising because he likes to run around the house chasing the cats and I have to chase him. That's how I get my vocal warm-ups in before recording. I usually have to yell at him to stop chasing Miss Megatron or Emmy. So.
Yeah, you know, when I was doing narration, speaking of vocal warm-ups, when I was doing narration and just, you know, podcasting in general, I used to think is like, if you're born with a cool voice, then you're just lucky. You can do voiceover. It doesn't require any more talent than just being, you know, born with a cool voice. And good God, like I was talking to an audio engineer that works for the city that I work for, and he was talking about, I think he said he had actually been involved in some project where that main voiceover guy that does all of the movie trailers, I forget what his name is. I think he's like in his 70s. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if you hear a movie trailer, you've pretty much heard his voice. And he's like, you know, because I was asking him about technical stuff like audio repair software, and he's like, you know, a lot of people process their voices like you're talking about, but true voiceover actresses, it's just them. They know how to control the dynamics of their voice. They know how to work out their voice and to form words to keep mouth clicks from occurring. And just like, good God.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's an art. It definitely is. It takes a lot of practice. It's a craft. You have to constantly be practicing. That's another thing. Derek Weber and I, we're always like sending each other, whether it be like YouTube tutorials or some kind of voiceover techniques, whatever videos, so that we're on top of what we're doing and just making sure that we're giving the best quality talent wise and also audio wise. He's really good with all of the audio stuff. I am not. I set up my studio and it's been how it is. And I use GarageBand for my narrations. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things I learned in the past year because it's just the technical part is not my forte.
Well, speaking of the technical part and Anakin starring in a cologne ad, well, where are you at with the camera? Like, as far as I think you said you were thinking about actually filming yourself doing the narration? Or
Yes. So that is going to be a very fun project. Going forward, I'm going to be working on, I have not yet recorded. I just got back from vacation. So I decided once I was back from vacation and refreshed, I would go ahead and start recording. So that will probably be coming the end of this month, I'm hoping. But the premise is going to be, I'm going to be basically just telling stories as I would narrating, but for some of them, I want to be a little bit interactive. So for Halloween, I have a really cool special that Paige and I are going to be working on where it's going to be more interactive rather than me just sitting there behind the camera. Just, I want it to be more like I'm a best friend telling you a scary story. That is kind of the vibe I want to give. So, because I know some other narrators, they have been doing on-camera readings, which is awesome and I love it. I just want to be a little bit more interactive and being like, hey, like, I'm your best friend. I'm telling you a story. Let me creep you out, kind of.
Mm-hmm. So you're not going to do it with a cat in your lap, petting it like a Bond villain?
I might. I mean,
okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah, don't count that out, like automatically.
No, absolutely not. Because, I mean, I want to stay in character too and be like the Queen of Dread and just, I have ideas for it. I'm probably not explaining it right. I have like a million ideas going on in my head. Today was one of those days. I don't know if you have those where you're just like, you think of 10 million things that you want to do and then you write them all down and then you go back to it, which I'll probably go back to it tomorrow and be like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. But today was just one of those days where I just had so many things going on in my head about how I want to kind of revamp my channel, because narration is wonderful and I want to keep doing it, but I also want to gain some more subs from it as well and hopefully make a living off of this one day. So that would be nice. So I'm just thinking of different ideas on how to do that and keep the subs and my friends entertained.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you ever find a throne?
So I decided
that was not a child being sold into slavery.
Oh, the Wayfair thing! I totally forgot about that. As soon as you said that,
for everybody at home, you remember that conspiracy theory that Wayfair was trafficking children by having pieces of furniture that were, like just mundane pieces of furniture that were going for like $80,000. Well, that apparently happened to Madame Dreadful. And then what was it? It was a throne, but it was like $10,000.
Okay, so it was a $6,000 throne. It was beautiful, black, and just like, it just looked gothic. And I was like, I need this for my house. So I'm like, all right. It was $6,000 and I think it went on sale for like, I think it was like $299 or something, or like $500. And I was really trying to convince myself to buy it. And I was like, you know what? I mean, if I buy a Secret Lab chair, it's going to be around the same price anyway. So I can totally get this. And then you messaged me. You're like, remember Wayfair? I was like, oh man, never mind.
It's just so weird. I mean, Wayfair, this is a completely unbiased, neutral position on the conspiracy theory. So
it was just a funny thing. It wasn't
just something we noticed,
But I have not decided on a throne yet. I'm going to wait a little bit on that. I have a really cool, not really cool. I mean, it's a comfy chair, just maybe paint it black or something. I don't know.
Nice. Those so the Secret Lab are the kind of the gaming chairs, right?
They are, yeah, and they're just super comfortable. My husband has one, and I was sitting in it the other day. I was like, "Wow, this is magical." So,
they're worth the money.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
Maybe I should upgrade.
Yeah, you totally should. They're on the higher priced end, but I feel like they're so worth it because the material's really good, and there's I guess there are gaming chairs, so gamers use them, and there's like a setting where you can just put it all the way back and you can kind of just fall asleep on it. Jealous. I need a new chair.
Well, so what kind of atmosphere do you have to write? I know you have a recording studio, but when you're writing, are you on the couch with a laptop or?
So I do everything in my recording area. It's like my inspirational area. Usually what I do is I'll turn the lights off. I'll put my twinkle lights on, my lightning bolt. Yeah. I love
I've seen the lightning bolt. I haven't seen the twinkle lights.
Oh, so those are behind me. So I basically have I have so many layers behind me when I'm recording. It's a curtain, and then I have a mover blanket, like a mover's blanket, and then a black sheer sheet, and then the twinkle lights behind it, so that when I'm recording, it's like nice and like quiet, but also pretty. So those are behind me. So usually I don't, sometimes on my Instagram videos, I'll take a video with them behind me. So next time I'll be sure to tag you and be like, see the twinkle lights.
Yeah, that's what I've got behind me right now is one of those moving blankets.
They're so effective. They're so good.
Yeah, I definitely am jealous of your recording studio. Is it like it's a small area?
Yeah, so when we bought this house, there's like a media room, like a media tech room, and my husband is actually a programmer, so he thought this room was going to be his. He was like, "Yep, this is going to be a cool like tech room for me, movie room." And I was excited to make it into a movie room, and then I started getting into narrations, and he's like, "Well, you can't be recording." He's like, "You can if you want, like record in a closet, but why don't we make a space for you that's just your own?" So this area was supposed to have like built-in cabinets and everything. So when we got the house built, we said like no built-ins. We're just gonna kind of leave it. And then it's like this tiny little space where it's kind of like a snack bar area. It was supposed to be for the media room, but we just kind of turned it into my studio. It's pretty small, but it's comfortable for me. And like I said, like you put the twinkle lights on, turn off the lights, and it's heaven for me.
God. Yeah, I always get those advertisements for those crazy lighting effects. Like you can get the strips that go along the crown molding, and you can line your desk and your all your other furniture with it, and it's like strobing. Yeah. I need to do that one of these days.
You know, Amazon definitely has some great. I have well, for the media room, it's like the media room itself is a decent size. So I had my day job work desk on the other side, and I had LED strips all along them so that it kind of gave me the I love working vibe, you know? No, but side note, I really do love my day job. But so I just basically decided that I'm just going to get rid of that desk though and just kind of work in my studio, because I mean, I don't need two separate desks. I feel like just plug in one laptop, unplug the other when I'm doing something, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, so you said you do your own audio, I guess video as well?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So basically with MacBook, it just makes it so easy to do. I use iMovie for my movies or my videos, and Canva Pro. So Canva Pro is like $12.99, not sponsored. I wish. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I use Canva. I don't have Canva Pro, but I use Canva to kind of box pictures in a particular way, whether it's for a post or a story.
Yeah, I love Canva. Like I was using the regular version, but then I started running out of photos to use for my thumbnails. So when I upgraded to Pro, it kind of just unlocked all of these different creepy photos. So I pretty much used that. And then for my thumbnail making. And then also I use that for my videos. I'll, like, for instance, my last video, Dagon by H.P. Lovecraft, it like takes place in the ocean. So for the video, I just found a ship in a storm kind of thing. So it kind of went with the rain ambiance on top of like the ship.
Because that's what I was going to ask you. I was like, are you a graphic designer? But those are stock photos you're using?
Oh, yeah. Everything's stock. And then I'll like add my touches to it, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you have a background in that at all, or you just kind of learn as you go?
I don't. So for a few months before I was trying to figure out what I kind of wanted to do with my life, I think like every 30-something-year-old might go through that.
Wait till your midlife crisis.
So I guess in my late 20s, I would say, like when I first moved to Texas, I was like, I don't want to be in customer service anymore. I just don't want to do it. But what do I want to do with my life? And that kind of went into the whole like thing where my husband was like, you should try narrating. But before that, there was coding, Danie. And I taught myself how to build websites, and it was fun. Like the whole putting together a website was really fun. But once it got to the back end stuff, like actually making the website functional, that wasn't fun for me. So I taught myself kind of like the graphic design part, which was amazing. And I kind of took that into what I'm doing now. But then I decided, nope, I can't do this my whole life. I just can't. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know the feeling. So in your story, there's something in the basement. You make mention of a true story that I've heard you tell before about an incident where you were walking down some basement stairs and tripped and started to fall, but then some unseen force grabbed you by the neck of your sweater and pulled you back. Was that basement in your house that you grew up in? And can you tell us about your experiences with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my parents, we always rented houses. So we lived in that rental for probably, yeah, like a good portion of my life. We lived in there, but it
And
was a very,
this was where?
this was in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where Danie Dreadful originates from. But,
Jersey girl.
oh goodness. Oh, it's funny. Side note. Every time I tell a story, I really try to not drop my Jersey accent.
Oh.
And there was one day where I said water and daughter, and I was like, oh my gosh, but it was left in there. It's okay.
No judgment here. This is a safe space.
But yes, so that house was built actually, I looked it up after as I was writing the story, I became really intrigued. I was like, I wonder how old that house actually is. It was built in 1908. It's a very old house. There was always something creepy about the basement and the attic. And my sister and I would always talk about it. Like, I would hear footsteps, and we lived on the top floor. So it was a 2-family house. We had neighbors that lived under us, and then us, and then the attic. So clearly there shouldn't be anybody in the attic, right? Mm-hmm. So the attic was very creepy, but the basement felt really sinister. But there was one time I was doing the laundry, and oh my gosh, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, the way the stairs were, they were very steep. And if you made a wrong turn, or like if you ran down too fast, you can like break your neck basically. And I just remember something grabbing me back, like saving me. And at the time I was like, well, my aunt had just passed away. So I thought maybe, it was her protecting me, or maybe it was something else sinister that was like saving me so that they could do something. I don't know. But whatever it was, I did not fall down the stairs that day. Thank God. 'Cause that would have been awful.
Yeah. You had to survive to become the Queen of Dread.
Exactly.
Yeah. I didn't really have, it was more of a childhood fear, I guess. My mother's Canadian, so obviously we don't have any basements here in Texas, or at least commonplace residential basements. But my mom is Canadian, and she grew up on a farm, and she grew up in this house that was built in 1910, and it had a basement. And you go down and you hit a landing, and from that landing you go out to the backyard, and then you continue down into the basement, down another flight of steps, and to the right there was some sort of pump. I don't know what kind of a pump it was. It was bolted to the ground, and it had pipes going to and fro. So it looked like this big, like reptilian insect looking thing. It was just like, it freaked me out, and it would randomly kick on and off. So I never wanted to go down there, and it was there in the dark where you could turn lights on, but this corner, there was no lights. So it was just this dark little eerie presence.
Yeah.
And, so I never wanted to go to the basement, but if you wanted ice cream, the ice cream came in these big pails, and they didn't keep them in the upstairs freezer because they took up too much room. They kept them downstairs.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to make the decision, how bad do I want ice cream when I'm 9 years old or 6 years old, however. But yeah, I haven't really experienced anything that I would call paranormal. But you had mentioned that you were having some strange occurrences in the house you're at now.
Yes.
And upon further investigation, I think the surrounding area had a bit of a dark history.
It did, yes. So, all right. So it has, like, knock on wood.
Am I traumatizing you by bringing up all this stuff? Okay.
It's okay. It's my life. I live in horror, so I love it. Not necessarily when it's happening, but it was very strange when we first moved in. So this is a brand new house. We've had it built. It's a new neighborhood. It's surrounded by a lake, which is Lake Louisville. And this lake, apparently there's a graveyard underneath it. So
underneath the lake?
Underneath the lake. Okay. Yeah. So that to me right off the bat was just crazy and creepy. And then I was kind of like digging into, I was like, okay, dark history of Lake Louisville. And there have been multiple occurrences of shadow people. So these dark figures that, like, when people see them at night or during the day at the edge of the lake, they just feel, for lack of a better word, dread, and just feel they feel sick. And it was so strange because going back to it. All right. So first it has started occurring, maybe like a few months after we moved in, and like the attic door was open, and the way that the attic door is, I don't know why it's always me in attics or me in basements, but like you said, we don't have basements here, so it must be the attic. So the attic door it has to remain locked, basically. So there is a key that we keep, and we keep the door locked, and we keep the key somewhere else. And I kid you not, 3 or 4 times I've walked upstairs and the attic door is wide open. And my first concern was not, oh my God, there's a ghost in the house. It was, oh my God, did the cats get in there? Or they, like, because the way the attic is, they can technically fall through. So like automatically I was just like, my babies, like they can't go in there. So my husband loves playing tricks on me. So it's like our thing. Like he'll just hang up random scary photos around the house and like try like around the corner and try to freak me out. We have this one, he prints her out. She's like a scary Japanese lady, and he'll like just put her in random spots when I'm not, like when I'm least expecting it. And we named her Norma. So one day I'm coming up the stairs and I just see Norma's head staring at me.
Your husband sounds like a fun guy.
He is. That's why I've been with him for 10 years already. But
never a dull moment.
Never. So like I'll text him and be like, damn it, Norma got me. So so, you know, my initial reaction was, haha, that's funny, but don't do that because my freaking cats could get in there and get hurt. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, did you open the attic door to freak me out? And he's like, no. And he can put on a pretty good game face when he's really trying to freak me out. And
I hate that.
But I knew like at that moment, like he wasn't lying. Like I can tell it's like something like he's really good at it, but sometimes I can tell. And I just, cause I think he saw how freaked out I was, and if he did open the attic door, he would have told me. So I'm looking, nothing. I'm like, okay, well, at least nobody's living in our attic. Great. Close the door, lock it. Felt like just panic in a sense. I'm like, all right, I'll be fine. And then a few days later, same thing. The attic door is wide open. And I'm like, it has to be something like, I don't know. Like, so for me, I think that was the second time when I was just like, okay, there's a ghost in here. And my husband's a pretty logical thinker, I guess, in a sense. And he's like, no, it's probably this, this, and this. And he gave me a whole list of reasons, like, or ideas of what it could be. And I'm saying, they're like, nope, there's a ghost in here. There's a ghost. And fast forward, it's like this all happened like within the same month. And it was like September, maybe. I think it was September of last year. And then all of a sudden I'm recording and I get this. I think that's probably what you heard when I posted it to my Instagram, like the weird recording that I picked up. So there was just a very weird voice on there, and it sounded like either help me or hello or something, but I couldn't make out what it was. And I thought like, okay, I was using Audacity to record at the time. So I was like, all right, let me see. Maybe it's just like the program or something. But I got freaked out. I turned off everything. I was like, goodbye. I'm done. I'm done for tonight. And then it happened again, like a few weeks later. And I wasn't using Audacity at that time. I was using GarageBand. So I was like, okay, is it my mic? What is going on? But then it stopped. But then like little nuances, like little things started happening where I would smell smoke in the house. And that's when I got really freaked out. And my husband said like he thought he saw smoke one day. And then our fire alarms started going off one night. It was weird because it was literally on the dot. It was like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. But there was no, like nothing was wrong. But it was weird because it was literally the same week that he said that he saw some, like, it looked like there was like a mist or a smoke or something. And that's when he started to believe me, I think. So now we're just kind of convinced that there's something in our house. I did some sage and stuff.
What do you call that?
Smudging.
Smudging, yeah.
Yeah. So I did that. But lately, knock on wood, nothing has happened since. But it's still very freaky, and the whole history behind the shadow people, which is actually, I'm going to talk about some true shadow people encounters on my channel this month as well. So,
yeah, that was going to be my question is, are you going to do a story about the house and the history of the area?
I do want to do that. I actually want to do a whole series on just, oh, that was the word I was looking for before with Page Turner. We're doing a series. Thank you. See.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to do a series on like haunted Texas. I think that would be pretty cool and just kind of like turn it into like story format. And that's something I definitely want to do. One of these upcoming series.
So would that be like serial, or would each episode stand on its own?
I think each episode would probably stand on its own. So I'd kind of go into like maybe the haunted history of North Texas and then like Central Texas, West Texas, South Texas, maybe something like that. See, today I had like a whole bunch of ideas and that was one of them. So not thought out yet.
Well, as long as you're writing them down in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that's like to have like 9 irons in the fire and you don't like finish one of them. So they all get deformed in the fire.
Yeah.
You left them in too long. So I guess it's obvious you're a fan of horror movies, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
What is your favorite subgenre?
All right. So I would say definitely found footage and paranormal for sure. I do like the slasher movies, but if I had to choose, I'm really into the found footage movies and the paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched what I believe kind of begun the whole found footage subgenre, and I don't know that I'm happy that I did. It just had so much controversy surrounding it. Was that movie Cannibal Holocaust?
Oh, I haven't seen that one. How have I not
You do
seen
not
that?
want to, because there's actual killing of animals in it.
Oh, then no.
It was made in I want to say the late 70s or early 80s or something like that. And the ethics of the way it was made were a little sketchy. And I won't get into it because you'll start crying and then the show will be ruined. But they did savagely kill 3 animals.
Oh, my goodness.
If it was special effects, it would be hard enough to watch. But knowing that it was actually happening was just like, oh.
See, that's the thing. Like, if there's killing of an animal in a movie, I can, like, not like that though, but like in a SFX or whatever, I'll be okay because I really mentally prepare myself. As soon as I see an animal on the screen, I'm like, okay, mentally prepare yourself. There's an animal. Even my husband will say like, hey babe, there's a dog. So just prepare yourself. Cause you know how like, all these movies now, I feel like they like to tug on our heartstrings and give us those types of kills, which I hate, but it happens in most horror movies now. And I can mentally prepare myself. I won't be happy about it. I'll close my eyes or I'll walk out of the room and come back. But just knowing that movie actually did that, that makes me so mad.
Mm-hmm. So when you said found footage and then you said paranormal, were you talking about paranormal, the category, or like Paranormal Activity, the movie?
Oh, the category, but I do love the Paranormal Activity movies too.
So what are some of your favorites from those subgenres?
I would say Hell House. Have you seen those? The found footage? Okay, so the Hell House series is really good. And then for paranormal, like anything, there's so many of them. I love the Conjuring movies for sure.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of strange. I usually like the extreme stuff, but like The Conjuring, I don't know what it is about those movies. Like
they're good.
And they don't like, you know how almost any genre of movie, the sequels just get like progressively shittier.
Yeah.
But The Conjuring, it's just like boom, boom, boom. Just
I know.
Yeah.
And like every time, it's so weird. Like every time after I watch them, I have to go watch real videos on Lorraine and Ed Warren. Like it's just a thing. Every single time I'll watch the movie. Actually, my sister, she had come to visit and we watched, I think she said she like never seen the Conjuring movies. And I was like, get out of my house. No, I'm just kidding.
Blasphemer. Unclean.
Yeah. So I was like, well, we have to change that. So we put it on. And then like I remember like that night, I just spent hours watching like YouTube footage of Ed and Lorraine. And I was like, I'm like obsessed with it. But I really do love those movies. And like you said, sometimes most of the time the sequels are just garbage. But no, these are always good.
Yeah, I saw, what is it, the 4th one, The Devil Made Me Do It?
Oh, yeah.
I saw it with a friend what was that? HBO Max, I think they come
Yeah.
out briefly when they're still in the theaters. So yeah, I saw it on HBO Max with a buddy of mine, and then me and my fiance went to the theater and saw it. A lot of movies, I'm like, okay, I've already seen it. I mean, it was good,
Yeah.
but I don't need to see it again. But there are those movies that it's like, yeah, multiple times. Blade Runner 2049 is one of those movies. I think I saw it 3 times in the theater and about 4 times when I bought it when it came out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and then I would say, even though it's more of a slasher film, I enjoyed the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out on Netflix. I didn't hate it. The ending, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who didn't see it yet, but I like that they like kind of left it open. So hopefully we see a little bit more of that. But an Amityville Horror is one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the Warrens. I saw on Instagram I can't remember his name. He's an indie author that I follow. He posted some pictures of him and his wife next to the Warrens' grave.
Oh, wow.
And I cannot remember where they're buried. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I didn't know there was a grave to go to, but apparently there is.
Huh,
That's
that
pretty
is
cool.
interesting. Road trip.
Road trip. So, in your story, The Last Thanksgiving, you make mention of the pandemic and a food shortage, which I think is a really good way to heighten the fear of the story by using real-life terror in the narrative. Are there any horror or thriller movies that you like that do exactly that, utilize real-world events to elevate the horror?
Yes, there was a movie I had just watched, and it is, oh my gosh, the title is escaping me. Mother Android, it's called.
Mother Android. Okay.
So it was basically about, it's Chloe Grace Moretz, and can't remember who the other person is, but basically, I guess it could be horror. It's more sci-fi, but all these people, they start using robots as their maids and all of that. And then one day the robots just decide like, hey, I'm going to take over. And you kind of think of it as, all right, so Tesla's always trying, or Elon Musk's always trying to like push these new robots on us and stuff. And what happens if that does come true? And it was really interesting. Just the way, like, because the girl in it, she actually gets pregnant, or she knows she's pregnant, and then like all this stuff happens, like this whole war happens, and it's like post-apocalyptic type of world that they're living in, and she's still, having the baby, and it's just crazy and it's scary because it's like, what if that happens? And then I like movies like that because it really does get you to think, like, are we progressing too much with these robots? And would I get one? Yeah, probably, because I'd hate folding laundry and I'd love a robot to fold laundry for me. But then, yeah, I do like movies like that.
Yeah, it's weird how when it comes to tech, it's like you want the comfort of your own demise. Like,
exactly.
I fear this, but I don't want to be without it. It's so amazing.
It's like the cell phone, you can picks up your location. It tells you your like everything. Basically, with my job, I have to look at a lot of websites, and every day on Instagram, I'm getting ads for a website that I've already looked at. Like, and it's just weird because I guess like because it's all connected to the Wi-Fi, but it's just so strange. I remember the first day I started at my current job, and I was looking something up, and then like 3 hours later, it's like I get an ad on Instagram for it. Like, really?
Yeah, that's where all of the technology for the internet is going. Advertising and porn.
Yeah, I know.
You talk about scary. Have you heard of Elon Musk's? I think it's on the back burner right now, but there was a time that he was talking about it, and I think you can still find a TED Talk on it. The Neuralink, the chip that goes in your brain.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely heard about that. And I'm just like, oh, man.
And I mean, like, it sounds too crazy to be true.
Yeah.
But, because you're using, the premise is, I guess, you're able to use your mind to transmit commands, like looking something up in the internet and being able to interpret that. But when you think about it, what is language other than you making noises with your mouth to implant a thought in the person that you're talking to? And that's coming from a thought process in your mind. So if you can transmit the thought process or correlates of consciousness, I think they call it, to these sounds you make with your mouth to get a request or a command or something off to somebody else. Why couldn't you just bypass that and just go straight into a computer interface?
Yeah, my goodness. But while we're on this subject, I just thought of another one of my absolute favorite movies.
Okay.
I Am Legend. You know, because the whole premise of that story was basically like people were with cancer or taking this pill and then they turn into, you know, these zombie-like vampire creatures. And a few weeks ago, I heard like something about a pill being like distributed that can possibly cure cancer, which sounds amazing. But then my mind automatically went to, oh my gosh, we're going into I Am Legend. Like we're going to be a zombie pollination. But that's one of my favorite movies as well. But
I was listening to Lex Friedman's podcast the other day, and he had on this some sort of a computer, or no, I don't think it was a computer background. Maybe it was a biology background. But anyway, he said that they're trying to develop a program that replicates the human cell processes. So the working theory is if they can develop a working model of the way that a human cell behaves, they can actually use the chemical formula for a pharmaceutical drug and make a computer model of how it will react with human cells, so that instead of doing experiments in the lab and on animals, they can do all of that in a computer model until the last trials at the end when they're, I guess, distributing them as an experimental drug to people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
I like
crazy.
it when people try to do things like that.
Right, exactly,
You know?
exactly.
The other dystopian stuff just kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, when I was looking up the origins of the creepypasta, I found something that sounds like a creepypasta itself. And I've wondered if anybody has made a creepypasta about this true life creepypasta related event. Have you ever heard of the Slender Man?
The Slender Man. Yep. The Slender Man killings. Are you going to talk about that?
Yeah.
Wow. So that is actually one of my things that I want to write about.
Okay. Has anybody else done it?
I haven't seen it. Like, I've seen a lot of like true crime podcasts or YouTubers touch on it, but I haven't seen anyone like make an actual story about the killings and like kind of tell it in narration form. But the Slender Man, that was, my goodness, when I was actually following that case, I remember just,
Isn't one of them out right now on supervision?
Yeah, out on supervision because they said she was like mentally insane, so she didn't get charged. I don't know.
Well, from what I read, both of them got that mentally unfit for trial or whatever.
Yeah.
But one got 25 to life and the other got 45 to life. So I'm thinking maybe one was kind of the conspirator and kind of influenced the other person. Maybe? Yeah,
that's basically what happened. There was one girl, I believe, who like literally was the killer, and the other girl was kind of just like accessory to murder. Okay. There's actually a movie on it. It's like a documentary. I believe it's on Netflix. It was on Netflix when I watched it, but that's kind of where I first heard about it.
But she didn't die though, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. She was in the hospital for 6 days, I think.
Did I say killer? I didn't mean killer.
No, I was just making sure I had it right.
No, you're right.
My research was not that in depth, so I could have it wrong.
Yeah. But it's just a sad thing. It's like you take something that's supposed to be like a lore, you know, like like something to scare people, and then you turn it into this thing. And then I know there was probably an uproar in the creepypasta community, I could imagine. I wasn't part of it at that time because it happened a while ago, but it's just, I actually have a poster of Slender Man in my media room, but you know.
So it was kind of a meme that a lot of people wrote about, or was it, because there was one author, I think Knudsen was his last name. Let's see. Eric Knudsen, if I'm pronouncing that right, also known as Victor Surge. But did other people pick up on that and write their own stories about Slender Man?
There are a few. I've seen on the Creepypasta wiki, I've seen like renditions of Slender Man, but nothing quite like talking about the actual killings, but Slender Man, I believe he was the original creator of Slender Man, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure who originally wrote about him, but he's an OG creepypasta creature.
Yeah. So is that one of the many ideas you've got on the burner?
It is, yeah. That one's been on there for months, though.
Oh, okay.
I really just need to prioritize certain things. Yeah.
So anyway, moving on to lighter things. You seem like someone that loves Halloween and would be the type of person that would go all out. So what is Halloween like in the Dreadful household?
Oh, it's so boring. No, I'm just kidding. I am totally kidding.
I call bullshit.
So last year, well, we moved into our house and I kept saying like, I want to throw a huge Halloween party, but then pandemic hit. So, we didn't throw a big Halloween party. We just decorated. I start, what I call Halloween haul, around late July, early August, because that's when stuff starts hitting stores. But last year we kind of went all out and we did a pretty big party. We just turned our house into like a haunted mansion. Like we turned it into like a very haunted looking house. We changed out like all the light bulbs to red bulbs. We had like a room where you can just take scary photos and stuff. It was pretty cool. Of course, the food. I'm a huge foodie as well. So I think we did paella. We ordered did we do paella? No, we did Greek food. So we catered Greek food and then I made, Halloween snacks. Like I think I definitely did Jell-O shots. And the thing with me is that I like to name things. So the Jell-O shots were like goblin snot, things like that. Yeah. But basically last Halloween, I did a 13 Days of Halloween series on my channel. So every single day for 13 days I was uploading, but I didn't prepare it as well as I should have. So October for me last year was kind of a little stressful because I'm like, oh my God, I have to get a video out tonight. So this year I am starting now and preparing for Halloween, but Halloween's pretty much all year around for me. My husband tolerates me. He's not.
What is his background?
And he's a software engineer.
Oh, okay. So he's a very straightforward, calculating. Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to put into perspective the I guess the dynamic between you two.
Oh yeah. It's so funny because every time I'll do something crazy, like not crazy, but I'll buy a skull or something and he'll just look at me and he'll be like, another one. And I'm like, you know what you married. Like, So,
you signed up for this. Accept
and he's like, I didn't know it was that bad. I was like, well, you know what? But yeah, I think we balance each other out very well because he's more of like the serious one, but I'm like the goofy, crazy, like purple haired girl that just likes to have fun. So
you're going to have to tell him to email me his arm workout. I need to I need to step up my game a little bit.
Oh man, like he's so I guess so last year I had fractured my foot and was just like, I'm just going to eat my feelings away. So now this year we're like back at the gym hardcore. So he used to be a Marine as well. So he's putting me through like boot camp and it's been really fun.
You don't have the strength of your conviction in that statement. So can you tell me, I know you've got a day job and you have the narration, but I heard something about some voiceover work, you doing the voice of a video game character.
Yes. I don't believe I'm allowed to say exactly which video game it is yet, but I did get a nice lead female role for a video game. And it's based off of a book. So I'm super excited. So that we haven't started recording or anything. They're still kind of getting the ins and outs together and writing up the script still, but it was really cool that, that was my first real voice acting thing that I ever auditioned for. And I got it. So I was like, wow, that's really cool.
So this would be like the first professional voiceover work you've done?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And also I just finished up my first audiobook, and
What?
yes, so that one I'm super excited about. And the author, I don't want to promote it yet. It's just like certain things where it's like, am I allowed to say it? I'm not sure. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. But after I sent it to him, he sent me a lot of praise and asked me if I want to do 5 or 25 more books for him. So
Nice.
yeah, so that should be coming out soon. We're thinking probably August, I think he said. And then I also just got casted in a fun animation project that's going to be on YouTube by another fellow narrator who wrote another, like he just pretty much wrote up an entire script for a bunch of voice actors who wanted to actually try their hand. I'm playing the Queen of Hell, not the Queen of Dread, but the Queen of Hell.
You know,
Yeah, same, one in its own. But
that's dread is a mental state. Hell is a place. That's
there you go.
you're moving up in the world.
I am. But I auditioned for that right before I left for vacation. And well, I auditioned for another part and I was like, oh, I definitely didn't get it because it was at the point where I knew I was getting burnt out. So even though I really wanted to audition, my mindset wasn't really there. So I didn't get the part I auditioned for, but then he had messaged me. He's like, I've been too excited. I know you're on vacation, but I just can't stand it anymore. And he like announced that I got the part, which I thought was amazing. And it made my vacation. And then he emailed me a few days ago asking if I can do a secondary character. I sent that in yesterday and I'll be in one of the first episodes as well.
Outstanding. My God.
I love voice acting. I never thought, like, when I was younger, I really looked up to EJ Daly. She was, she played like Tommy Pickles in Rugrats. And when I found out when I was younger that a girl voiced that, I just became like enthralled, like, oh my gosh, like women can do this. Like, that's not a guy. That's not a baby talking.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of just,
well, what is it? Is it Lisa Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Or Nancy Cartwright, is it?
Is it Nancy? I thought it was Lisa.
Lisa
It
Cartwright?
might be Nancy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Oh, Lisa's his sister in the show. It's probably Nancy then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea that was a woman.
Right? And just it's so amazing what people can do with their voices. And that's the thing. As much as I love narrating and I'm going to continue to narrate, I love the voice acting aspect of it.
Yeah, it's kind of well, not kind of. It's an art. Like
it is for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there are so many times where I'll be narrating something and I'll be like, oh, I put the emphasis too hard on that word. And then I'll like redo it and it sounds better. And it's so like, I was watching a tutorial on kind of like that, like how when you emphasize different words, it kind of like changes the sentence completely. And I was like, and it really, that is something that always stays in the back of my mind. If I'm narrating something, I'm like, okay, maybe I should put the emphasis on this word or try this. But I really like when I have parts that I can be hysterical in, because then my husband runs in and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I did it good. Awesome. So
do you just go inch by inch, like doing scenes in a movie when you do your narration, or is it you just do the whole thing and then go back and chop it up?
I usually just do the whole thing in one straight shot. And if I mess up, I'll like snap or do like a little click. So that I know like where to take out the part that I messed up and then redo it. But the other day on Sunday, I tried it a little bit differently and I kind of like stopped when I messed up and then like re-recorded it. And I think that actually went faster in the long run, but I'll have to like do an actual timer on it to see which one works better. But for my mental state, that actually worked a lot better, because when I have to sit there narrating, I'll go through like a whole bag of Twizzlers with the stressful editing part. So
well, so I've heard narration or horror narration, like what you normally do, but I've also heard book narration as well as voiceover work for a character in a video game. Do you also do any kind of advertising on social media? Are you like a spokesperson for anybody?
I'm not, but that would be really fun. I think that would be a cool project. I need to put a demo reel together for sure. And then put my work out on Fiverr. I was just waiting until I had a few things under my belt. So when I upload to Fiverr, people can see or hear what I do. So
I got to admit my ignorance. You're saying Fiverr?
yeah, so
Okay.
it's actually a good idea for you too. Like, if you want to narrate audiobooks or things like that, authors will go on there and they'll listen to your reel, your demo reel, and see if like you're a good fit, if your voice fits what they're looking for, and then they'll hire you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did you get into doing collabs with other people as far as narrative fiction?
So that is a funny story.
Bring it.
Yeah. So one day, like I think I told you in the beginning of the podcast how one day someone just found me and he's like, "You're the Queen of Dread." And that friend, his name PA Nightmares. And he was like, "Danie, I want you to be on my channel." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Okay, yeah. Like, I'll definitely be on your channel and like maybe people will hear me." And then from there, it was like someone else, another narrator heard me on his channel and then asked me to collab on their channel, and then so on and so forth. And then I will always be so eternally grateful for Swamp Dweller because he was like the first like huge narrator to really take a chance on me and be like, "Hey, do you want to be on my channel?" And I already really liked his voice. And I remember just being in complete awe and shock when he asked me to be on his channel. And then from there, other narrators heard me, and it's kind of just been like from one narrator to another, like people hear me on other channels and then they ask me to collab. So that's kind of how I started, I guess, getting into collaborations.
Okay. Well, maybe I can get the proud mother to tell me about her children. Let me see if you're present enough on social media that I know the names of all three of your pets: Mrs. Megatron, Anakin, and last but definitely not least, Emmy.
Yes, Princess Emmy.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding.
I'll edit that out. Princess Emmy.
I'm just kidding. She was actually, I used to call her Queen Emmy because she acted like she was the queen of the house. But now I'm like, no, you're a princess. I'm queen.
Yeah, that's your title.
No, but I love my babies. Like, oh my goodness. So Emmy is the first pet or fur child I've ever had, ever. She's almost 9 years old now. And she's my baby. She does not really like the other two, but I mean, she's kind of an old lady compared to them now. Mm-hmm. Miss Megatron is, she's the cutest. She's like the most beautiful. She's not very smart. She won't hear this. It's okay. No, but I love her so much. She's scared of everything. I feel like I really love her name as Megatron, but if I could rename her, I would rename her Shadow because she's scared of her own shadow. Like she will run away from it if she sees it. She and Anakin get along pretty well, except when he tackles her, she gets kind of mad at him. But Anakin is just, he's Anakin. He is the most adorable thing. And he's so funny, so energetic. Yeah.
Nobody understands him.
You'd be surprised. So when we went on vacation, we took him to a pet hotel and he got put in timeout because he was too energetic for the other dogs.
I know that feeling. At least he doesn't hump the other dogs.
No, he doesn't anymore. Once we got him neutered,
that's the problem. My fiance's dog was neutered a long time ago, but is extremely inappropriate with any dog he comes in contact with. I have to keep a tight rein on the leash because when he gets up on his hind legs with another dog, they'll actually start hugging as long as I'm holding onto the leash. But if I let go of the leash, he's actually trying to get his arms around the other dog's neck and force it down so he can start humping their face.
Oh my God. Anakin used to do that.
God.
Dogs.
But he's neutered. Well, I don't know what's happening.
I have no idea. Actually, I wonder if that's what they meant when they said like he was trying to mount the other dogs. I thought maybe like, cause we got a report card from him, from the hotel, and it said like he did really well and he was sweet and everything. But he had 2 timeouts because he tried to mount other dogs. And I was like, mount? Or is that a nice way of saying hump? Oh no. Oh no.
Oh God.
I don't know. But, he's been really, really sweet this like the past week since we've been home. I guess he really did miss us. So,
Well, how was Cancun?
it was so fun and so needed and so relaxing. We haven't had a vacation in like 9 years. So we decided to just go all out, get like the swim up ocean view front. It was amazing. I made friends with the beach concierge. His name was Charlie Boy. He was my best friend the whole trip. He would come up because we had like the swim up room. So I'd be swimming in the little pool in front and he'd be like, tequila shot, 10 a.m. I'm like, yep, tequila shot at 10 a.m. Let's do this.
Yeah, you make good with the concierge. He can get you whatever you need.
Yep, absolutely. He was the best though. I left him a really good review. He was just very attentive, very nice. And then when we were leaving, he's like, you come back and see me. I was like, absolutely. Yes, we'll be back.
Well, as we kind of bring the show to a close, is there anything you'd like to plug? I mean, we've talked about quite a bit, but maybe to kind of line everything out as far as upcoming projects?
Yeah, I mean, just the audiobook coming out, which I'll definitely be posting on my Instagram. So if you don't follow me, please do. It's Danie.Dreadful. That is my handle. And I'm on Twitter as well as Danie Dreadful. So go ahead and follow me on there to see any upcoming projects. But for the most part, just stay tuned and I'm sure I'll have something new for you.
All right. Well, before we go on the topic of people subscribing, we're recording about a week before this podcast is actually released, and I'm looking at 934 subscribers. So my OCD is going nuts. We've got to get this to 1,000. So if by the time this is released it's 1,000, that's fantastic. But if not, we're at 934. I don't want to do math. Let's see. What is that? 6 and 6? Yeah,
I'm bad at math.
66
Yeah.
more subscribers.
Ooh,
that's
66.
kind of creepy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When I hit 666 subscribers, I was so excited. I was like, screenshot that. But, but yeah, 66 guys.
Come on, people. Let's get it done. So, well, thank you for joining me, Madam Dreadful.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. This was really fun, and I know I talk a lot, so.
Oh, no, that's good. That makes my job easier because I don't have to do anything but listen. Well, thank you very much. I had a great time talking with you, and I look forward to all your new content.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone that tuned in. If you liked today's episode, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the show on Instagram and YouTube. Stay healthy, stay sane, and as always, thank you for listening. See you next time.